Okay, everybody on the stream, if you're there, post something on Slack so we can just check it out real quick. So here's Bells.
Honestly, I think I did do some way too slow. Some are okay, but some are like really slow. That one might be too slow. I think the second shot was a little too slow. That one might use a little bit more speed too. That one could be a little faster too. That one's maybe okay. That one could be faster. That one's fine. I had fun with that one.
Did you do it? You did a Zolly shot?
I was like, I don't know what else to do. Let's go with the Solly shot. I know I won't. At the end, I'm going to change it out with the mixer.
Okay, yeah.
You notice I don't have the mixer in there yet. I'm probably just going to do it as a zoom in of the mixer. But
Yeah. So the yeah, that thing, the Zolly shot is very
it's more for dramatic things.
yeah, it's a specific narrative device that they used in Jaws there, and now it has all of this cultural weight behind it. About this idea of like depicting a moment of realization or of time compression or something like that. And so like this is certainly less dramatic than Jaws, right? So it just ends up being like, especially compared to everything else, like it's just kind of out of left field. Looks great. You got the pacing good.
What do you think?
Yeah, I commend you. You have some of these are too slow. The things that stick out that I think upon first glance need fixed is that the brick pattern is too big. Bricks are like a standard size. I'm not a contractor and I don't know what it is. Let's look it up. Because you did a good job modeling the kitchen to scale, everything looks pretty good to my eye there, that the size of the brick and the size of the floor tile look too large. Yeah, so a standard brick is like 8 inches across. And yeah, so this would be one of those issues where it may be good just to, in your Cinema 4D model, like make a 6-inch brick, and then you can just change your texture tiling to match it. That would be the thing that comes to mind there. But the pacing is great. I think you could get closer to the details. All right, and this goes for everybody from what I've been seeing so far, is closer to the details, right? So I think the fact you've got the table in there, where is anything? Okay. Like you did the stuff where you did small things, you want to show off those small things. And so a shot that goes, probably everybody. God, what am I doing here? T. Oh, I don't have my thing turned on. Hold on. There we go. A shot that goes across, fairly zoomed in, going across the top of the stove here, right? Because you did a bunch of detail here on. I just turned this on. What is going on here? Okay. Is this working? It's working. All right, great. you did a bunch of detail here along this, and so showing that off, right? So this isn't just for belts, it's for everybody, right? The small details. Where else do we have a bunch of small details? On the kitchen table. And so I'm doing something that moves maybe right across the table here so that we can see in detail the glassware and the silverware, right? We all spent a bunch of time making silverware. Show it off, right? And so seeing all of that up close there as well. The floor tile also strikes me as too large. I know there's different sizes for floor tile, but I think it's like yeah, I mean, this is kind of a square pattern here, right? Or it's like a. Are there square? There's some of them are square, right?
Yeah, I could probably just use. I have sort of a square pattern. Some of them are square, some of them are rectangle. But I could always just go off of like the size of the tiles in my own model, since I do have a similar tile pattern.
Yeah.
Maybe just make a box like that and use that as reference to scale it down to that.
Yeah. Like this tile is as large as the refrigerator, right?
Yeah.
So that seems not quite right. And then I would just is this a separate material here on the ceiling?
Yeah.
I mean, if you wanted to give it a little bit of texture, so I mean, this material here, is this from Substance or what? Where did this come from?
Oh, that came from Polydina.
Yeah, I might just use a solid color, and then did you put this on like the bump channel as well?
I think so.
Yeah, it just looks dirty. Like
Okay.
like there's no like.
Maybe just like a solid with a slight amount of color.
Yeah, like just white with, if there's this pattern in the texture of it, that's probably fine. But like it kind of looks like there was a kitchen fire, which, everything else looks so good, it doesn't, you don't want to, do that. But this is a better choice for not having that other color on the cabinets. That looks better. And then leverage your stuff, right? And so something else you could do here, you did a good job of making it seem like a real space. You put these shelves over here, although this shelf seems like,
A little too high?
well, yeah, like maybe just get rid of that one, like this one and this one, like this. Like if you look at it, immediately I was like, what? No one would be able to. I couldn't get stuff off that shelf, and I'm the tall guy in my house, right? And so.
But yeah, I'll probably just get rid of the middle one and scoot the top one down a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay to have some space, but you could take like your glass or your wine glasses, and line those up here and here, like as a row, to sort of make things a little less empty in some regards. You could do the same things with the plates. Like over here in the corner, you could put like a stack of plates or something like that.
Yeah, I was planning on doing that when I added in the mixer. I was like, I still have to add in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so you have your mixer. So that you want, let's all make that now. Let's say, if you don't already have a shot of your mixer, we want at least 2 shots of mixer, right? Spend a bunch of time on that. Again, we want to show off the stuff we did. This looks really good. So is this separate geometry, or did you do it in the texture?
What do you mean?
Like the stove top?
Oh, the stovetop is literally just a stamp
In Substance.
in Substance, yeah.
Cool.
I found one of the shapes. It was like a segmented circle, and I just stamped it on the top in like different sizes.
Yeah.
And then I added a height and emission, so that way it would match the knobs. I know the height's
But
not
is there a
really
separate thing? Like it looks like it's below.
Oh, do you mean like the indent? Or what? I'm not sure.
No, like these parts look like they're below glass. Like.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. It was supposed to be more emissive, but it's not. So it being not emissive and more shiny made it look like it's below glass. I don't
Okay.
know why.
Well, just take it.
It
That
works.
that works really well. I mean that's how those things are supposed to look. This seems like this could be glossier. this wood.
Mm-hmm.
If like something is this, either it needs to be glossier or it needs to be less saturated, right? Like sort of a lighter, less saturated color. And the only other modeling thing that stuck out was just take some cylinders and slap them up here.
Oh yeah, I could probably just move up the lights.
Yeah, but you want something where they attach to the ceiling, because
Okay.
there's always like a fixture that holds them up there. Yeah, I mean just literally like a cylinder, throw a black texture on it, call it a day.
Yeah.
A close-up of the faucet. This looks really good, but I mean I wish I saw a little bit more of the detail there.
I think probably closer. I know there's one near the end that gets closer to the faucet, but not really close enough. It's that second to the last one. I should probably do closer.
Yeah, so you've got plenty of distance shots here. You need more close-up detail
I just
shots.
did one in, one out, one in, one out, one in, one out. So I did it even.
Okay, so what I meant there was like we start over the course of the 12 shots. If this is the whole thing, it should go from out to in to out. Like there's a big arc over the course of the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
All right, so we start with a wide shot, and then we slowly move in, and we're looking at detail after detail after detail, and then we cap it off with another wide shot. Is that clear to everybody?
Yeah.
That might not have been sufficiently clear the first time. Yeah, and the reason the texture size stuff sticks out is because you did such a good job putting everything else to scale that the bricks obviously look kind of strange.
A little too big.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'll make them smaller.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's something we should use, but in order to make my render go faster, I did use redshift proxies. For just like the heavier geometry stuff.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
How much did that affect the render time?
I went from maybe about 15 seconds to maybe like 8, 7 seconds.
Okay, well, I mean, at this resolution, what resolution did you render this at?
640 by 360, so I mean, it wasn't like a big heavy one.
Okay, and then how much time did it take to render the whole thing?
Like is it 1920 by 1080, or do you mean like the whole?
Like everything I'm looking at here, how much time did this take to render?
Oh, that maybe only took like 4 hours.
Okay, good. That sounds just about right. Cool. So that's workable. And so yeah, I wouldn't jump up to 1920 by 1080. I would.
Yeah, to render out a 1920 by 1080 frame, maybe took, I think, without the proxies, about 30 seconds. So almost 3 times as much time.
Yeah. So 1280 by 720.
Okay, right in the middle.
Yeah. And yeah, I think your cameras could cover more ground. Like,
A little faster.
yeah, like the length of the shots is good. Okay, so don't shorten the shots. Just have the cameras move about twice as far,
Yeah.
and that would give it a little bit more.
Like all of them twice as far, or like just some of the slower ones?
Yeah, I mean some of them like really seemed like stills. Yeah, so I mean.
Okay.
When you're rotating a little bit, you get more parallaxing happening. So slower is okay there because we get like fast, and then slow in the background or whatever. But and then throw some dirt on these. These seem impossibly clean.
Okay.
Because this looks like a real refrigerator. Like you did a great job. Like that looks.
Very dirty. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, not very dirty. It just. I mean, if you have a stainless steel refrigerator, like you can never get it. Unless you never put anything in your refrigerator, right? And you just enjoy looking at it, like it's not going to look.
It does fun. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool, very nice. I'm waiting for the rest of you to start clapping as well. Put your hands together. There we go. There we go. It's very golf clappy. I guess no one's been to a live performance in a long time.
Spirit maker.
So Nikki had some things up here.
I really like that shot.
Yeah, so Nikki, you need some more shots, but yeah, she also explored up and down, which is a good way to show off a bunch of stuff. Here, Danielle and Emily are giving you clap emojis. Clap emojis? Is there a word for this?
Yeah?
What do the kids call it?
I don't know.
I feel like this needs to be the metal color, Nikki, not the cabinet color. Like most of the time these vents are, yeah, they're not the color of the cabinets. That strikes as one weird thing. And then Nikki, you gotta make sure you make all of your keyframes linear, right? You gotta go in there. First of all, just hit Control D and do what Belle suggested before and make your default key interpolation not spline, not slurp, but linear. And then with your existing keyframes, you've got to go in there and make those linear. Right, so if I have two keyframes here, although I just changed that, so now I change it back. Didn't I just change it? Apparently not. Okay, so all of your cameras speed up and slow down, Nikki, which is exactly what we do not want to happen. We want the cameras to go at a consistent rate. And so you got to go into your keyframes, animation, show F curve, and you don't want to see any curving here, right? This is the one instance when we're talking about camera work where you're not tuning a bunch of curves. In every other animation instance, we're tuning these to give ourselves acceleration and deceleration. And so here, we want to select these and then press linear. And so how long did this take to render, Nikki? Let me know in the chat there. And yeah, the bump on the surface of the oven here, you could probably just turn the strength of that down in your redshift material. Like having a little bit of strength here on the bump is good, but it seems a little bit much. Yeah, this shot, you did a good job starting off with a wide shot. That's good. But this one, this shot should be linear and probably about twice as long, right? Because we're seeing a whole lot of stuff here for the first time. So yours has this retro wave feel, which I really dig. I don't know. I can't really decide about these cups almost look like they're glowing or something. It seems a little weird. Like the other things seem like cool and stylized, but that one stuck out as like, what's going on here? This looks way better. Now this actually looks like glass. Yeah, so you're gonna need a bunch more shots. Did I answer your question, Nikki, on Slack? Like, did that make sense to you as far as, I wasn't totally sure what you were asking. Like, did you need to have more time in your Cinema 4D file as to why things were shorter. This shot is kind of strange. Like, if we're going to look at the light, you might orbit around the light or something. Yeah, okay, so just so everyone knows what that is, Dutch angle is essentially, crooked camera. I don't know. I'm not sure the origins of that. And I won't speculate as a way to not get myself into trouble about the Dutch. So yeah, this one is also a little slanted. And yeah, if you're going to do that kind of thing, it has to be sort of more slanted. This just seems like kind of strange. And so in this case, you could probably fix this just by rotating it in After Effects. You don't need to certainly go in and make a change there. But I mean, since you're going to re-render. And then, yeah, we need so you just need more shots, Nikki. You do understand that, yes? And you also want some close-ups. Like we said, everybody, at least 2 close-ups of mixer. Right? We took the time to write a label on the mixer. We should be able to read it at some time. Sound good? Yeah, so that's good. Let's get some more shots of what's going on with the table. And you also did some cool texturing on the chairs. They have a pattern, and I think you drew some things on them. And so also let's see all of that as well. The movie Battlefield Earth is entirely in Dutch angles? You mean the John Travolta movie about Scientology? That one? Yeah, that one. So Nikki, you just need to add more shots. You understand that? And we want to get some more detail of everything you made, the silverware, all the other stuff. And like I said for Belle, if you've got shelves, a bunch of you guys made extra shelves, which is great. Yeah, you don't need to make extra stuff. You could put some of the existing things on there just to make it work. When did you start rendering?
Like 12.
Are you rendering an image sequence?
Yeah.
Okay, well just take what you got and render it out in After Effects.
I have 9 frames left. That's why I haven't stopped.
Right, but remember, that's why we do an image sequence. Part of the reason is that you can do all the After Effects stuff before it's even done. You can just refresh it once it's done. That's the cool part.
I know because I don't think my computer's strong. I don't think it's not good at rendering.
You mean that computer?
No, my computer at home.
Okay, well what are you doing right there?
Right here?
Yeah.
I'm rendering it.
Okay, yeah, so you can launch After Effects so that we can talk about it, post it.
I did do it. The reason why I didn't do this at home was because my computer is not, I remember.
Oh, okay, right. And so also, if you're here, right, you can you can be, we'll call it sneaker net render farm, where you could tell, Riley, you paying attention? You could tell this computer to render 100 frames, that computer to render 100 frames, that computer to render 100 frames, that computer to render 100 frames, right? You could, have more computers working for you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does everybody understand how you would do such a thing? Right? It would just be in your render settings. Over here, when you go to render, you would press this button, and then in here, you would say, All right, so I've got computer A working on 0 through 500. While I'm here, I'm gonna maximize my time and use every last computer. I'm gonna take the next one and have that one render 500 to 1,000.
And so you would just, like, do we do that by emailing the C40 file to ourselves and then just logging into a few of the computers and like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you can be logged into multiple computers at the same time. Or just put the C40 file on your drive, copy it to the data drive.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You could just copy it down.
Yeah, that's probably,
Faster.
yes. Okay, so Emily, this is what we've got so far. No moving pictures yet. So the lights, if you have a filament or something in here, putting an emission texture in there so that that one goes, and then it feels like this is lit just by these lights here. You want to have light coming from another source because this seems pretty dark right now. And we need a bunch more going on here. This wall pattern is way too big for it to be a textured wall. You want to just decrease the size of that, and I would make the ceiling something less dark. And then these wood panels on the floor feel a little too large. Maybe just slightly smaller there. But yeah, you need way more light in here. And your mixer. Everybody knows we're bringing the mixer into this scene, right? That's part of the reason we did a kitchen, because we made a mixer. Mixers go in the kitchen, right? All right, Danielle's. Okay, good start, Danielle. These feel like shots from the middle of the project, right? And so at the very beginning, we want to be having a wider view where we can see where the table is in relationship to all of this stuff. I feel like I would make the countertop something lighter, right? Maybe just like a white with a little bit. If you're going to use this wood grain for all the cabinets, nobody would ever choose this as the countertop. And so something more neutral there, right? You could just throw metal on this, and this white, I think, would be a better choice, especially to contrast with the kind of dark stuff that's going on here with the stove. You also need more light in here. Feels like cutting a hole for a window would be a great idea right here. Yeah, so Nikki, the total number of frames, how many frames did you render? Well, yours was, we're talking about a little over a minute, let's say 70 times 24. Yeah, it's like 1,600 frames or so.
Yeah, I think I did, or mine was like 1488 or something like that.
Yeah, so Nikki, the project is going to be that long. It's about 1,500 frames or so. And remember, you don't have to render it all at one time. In fact, don't, right? You want to be doing this in chunks. So yeah, Danielle, are you hearing my stuff here? Definitely, I would say a lighter choice for the countertop. And yeah, where's the table? We want the table in here. We want the mixer in here. The the window for sure would help the general composition and help your darkness that's happening here, which would also be good. All right, good start. And Nikki, or Danielle, your shots in general here, these are too fast, right? So you need to slow these down for sure. But all of these struck me as, especially that push in here. So for all of yours, Danielle, I would say you need, this one is kind of strange. I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to look at. Are we showing off the, like you definitely did some detail here in the cabinets. And if we want to see that better, you just need some more light. And so don't be afraid to put an extra light in for a shot. Like if you need extra light in here for one shot to sort of see the detailing, it's perfectly fine to do that. It feels like this maybe needs some kind of handle there. I don't know. Are faucets that minimal now? Where you can just wave your hand over the top?
Some of them you can just touch it.
Yeah.
It's weird.
So, Nikki, you can slow stuff down a little bit in After Effects. Like, if I would say, what I would write down in my notes right now, everyone, a good rule, plus or minus, let's say 15%. So, let me launch After Effects. Get my phone out to sign in. Jose, how are you doing? We just have a still right now. Are there any movies to look at? See, this Belle and Jose did a good job here, right? We've got like typical kitchen colors, marble, this, stainless steel. But then he's got an accent color. Red, and then red glass over here. That really makes that stuff pop. Looks good. Looks like a real kitchen. You need something over here, and an easy way to put something there is going to be a window. I think doing a window there. You got your. How many of you guys modeled this after your own kitchen? You hate your kitchen?
My kitchen would not fit an island in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm living in the first house that's ever had an island, so. This is cool, the infinity, I think that's what they call that, infinity marble, yeah. Although, I'm not sure it would go over the edge here, but that's kind of a minor detail, because you would want people to be able to like do something with their legs here, but. These strike me as just a hair too big. You guys think so?
Just a tiny bit.
Yeah, they're too tall compared to the counter. The rest, the scale of everything else strikes me as good. Nothing sticks out as too bizarre, except these. And your eye is drawn to them because you made them bright red. And so these need to just be like, I don't know, 8% smaller. And the legs you might need to shorten the legs just a touch in order to make that work. Let me tighten here.
Okay, I think since I rendered it normally, I think I forgot that one of my lights were a redshift light, so it's a little bit, it's pretty dark.
And everybody knows we got 2 weeks left,
Yeah.
right? You guys have all cleared your schedule, so you're going to be able to do massively more work in these last 2 weeks. Everybody has?
Yes.
Like you've all quit your jobs and then dumped your boyfriends and stuff?
Sure.
I was trying to make my kitchen ominous and like, but you know, the red light didn't go through with this render, so it's just a dark kitchen.
I don't know if the kitchen needs to be that ominous. Jose, you don't have that much work. And just make those chairs a little bit smaller, right? You guys are better and faster now, right? Than you were at the beginning of the semester. So, I mean, this is like literally maybe hit T and scale down this chair a little bit. I think you'd be good. And the window, making a window shouldn't be hard. That's a couple cuts and some deleting. Okay, so here, if you need to change the, first of all, just to review this, Taryn, you definitely want to take notes on this part, being new to After Effects. So when you bring, what are we rendering? We're rendering an image sequence, right? PNG image sequence. Everybody with me? Right? And what frame rate are we rendering at? 24 FPS. So when we bring it into After Effects, we need to say, right, when you bring it in just by itself here, how do I bring it in? File, import file, and I select one of the pictures. When you select one of them, it should say PNG sequence. This box gets checked here, and then you import it. How do you know if you did it wrong? If you did it wrong, let's say I had a 60 image sequence, there would be 60 images over here. That's bad, right? You want it to recognize it as footage, all that goes, you want it all to go together as one thing. And so here we see that when you bring it in, it thinks it's 30. So I'm going to right click and say interpret footage, change it to 24. Okay. And now I'll make a new composition to put it in. And we'll use 1280 by 720. Make sure the comp is 24 frames per second. I can drag down my image sequence. Okay. And even though this was rendered smaller, I can sort of scale it up. How do I retime things? So we said plus or minus 15%. Here we go. So if you need to slow down or speed up a shot, right click, time stretch. Okay, right click, time stretch. This gives us this window where we can conveniently do exactly what you just said, Jose. We can say by percentage what we want this to be. And so you see this shot is exactly 4 seconds as it is. Let's say it looks, Casey said to make it slower. And so I can say like 110, and that gives me, a little bit more time here. And so now we'll play back the shot slower. Okay, this is most useful like nursing student Nikki was talking about is that if we rendered less frames, we could stretch it out to be a little bit longer. However, there is a limit to this. If we were to stretch it out too much, if we go to time stretch, and I say, this is great, but my shot is 1 second, and I need it to be 8 seconds long. Okay, cool. I'll just make it 800% bigger, and now I'll watch it. Right? And so it slows down the frame rate. Everybody can see what's wrong with this, right? This is not good. So that's why I said let's limit this to plus or minus 15%. So you could render a few less frames this way and stretch it a little bit in After Effects, but we want this to look smooth. And so obviously 800% here is not smooth. So we can say time stretch, let's make it 120, probably plus or minus 20%. That looks okay. So we could say plus or minus 20% in order to slow things down. Jose, does that everybody, are there any questions about retiming in After Effects? Right, because at this stage we have, this is the modeling class, so we've been in Cinema 4D really all semester. Is everyone clear how to manipulate their footage in After Effects? Noelle? People in the back? Right, so I mean the big one here is just the time stretch. Right click, time stretch. And this allows you to do it, pretty exactly here. Taryn, does that make sense? Okay. All right, what else we got on Slack here? Jose, you got any moving images? Riley will be back in a second, I imagine. Itzel? How about a still image? How about a screenshot? How about 4 pixels? Can you show me 4 pixels? Kyler?
I found out the whole thing was why it was showing those pieces is because some of the normals were reversed.
What pieces was it showing?
Like remember when I was showing you the colors, how some pieces of the colors of the countertop was showing in between?
Mm-hmm.
Because there were some pieces like sticking out and I couldn't see them until like zoomed in.
Okay.
I have to fix everything.
Kyler? Do we have a couple shots?
I mean,
Any shots?
I did do a test render. I didn't save it because there was issues with textures not showing. And every time I tried to fix it, more textures kept not showing.
So did you update the Cinema 4D preferences? File, edit, preferences. Wherever your stuff is, you want to add that. Are you all, so you have that external drive that you come in and work with. And how do you work when you go home? You plug it into your home computer and work off that drive at home?
Yep. So like everything goes in the same place.
So
The
in
simplest way would pick out some things, but within the same folder, ignore those other.
if they just didn't get put into the text folder. So go to Files, and then Paths, and then add where you know the textures are on your external drive. No, I thought your table stuff looked good, Jose. You want some close-ups of those table setting stuff?
Yeah, I think an updated image of the stools on Slack.
Wait, what?
The red chairs stools on Slack. Yes, it's better.
Yeah, that looks better to me. That seems like if you sat down, your knees would not be above the countertop. I think that's good. Okay, so Riley, you got your notebook ready for notes?
Yeah. I know I need to group textures and stuff, but I also need to brighten it up.
Okay, so you got one shot?
Yeah.
Okay, and what's wrong with the keyframes?
Janky. I realized I forgot to smooth it out.
Or to change them to the
Yeah, what does smooth it out mean?
I can't remember. Like, no.
So you set your default keyframes, they are smooth by default in, like, you need to get the concept here. When you set two keyframes in Cinema 4D, it curves between them, like so, right? It gives you this S shape. We don't want that for the cameras, right? So you need to go back in and change this to linear, so that all of the camera movement stuff happens with linear keyframes. Right, because you can see what happens here, right? What does the camera do at the beginning and end of the shot?
Kind of curves a bit.
No, it doesn't curve. It doesn't curve. You set the linear. The word linear here doesn't apply to the directional movement of the camera. It applies to the speed. The speed, right? Watch, it starts slow and speeds up, and then it slows down at the end. What do we want it to do?
Not do that.
We want it to go at a constant speed, right? That makes it seem like a constant shot. And yeah, there's barely any light in here, so it's hard to say what's going on.
And I don't, yeah, before when I noticed it, it was like already like halfway done rendering. That the lights were off. So,
And what size did you render at?
920 by 90.
Okay, and so you're going to have to everyone is going to have to make constant changes, right? Right? It's not like we can just sort of turn this in and call it a day, right? And so Riley, you do not want to render at 1920 by 1080. First of all, write down that resolution and memorize it. You want to render at 640 by 360, because that'll be faster and you can notice your mistakes quicker.
Okay.
Right? So the 2 hours that you spent waiting for the 1920 by 1080, you can spend 10 minutes waiting for the 640 by 360, and then you have the realization that, like, oh, I didn't turn a light on, and then you can fix that.
Okay.
Right? This is what we're trying to avoid. Dumping a whole bunch of time into rendering stuff that's not good anyway. Sometimes you can't realize the stuff until you do the render, which is why you do these smaller renders first, test renders. Everybody with me there? Do you understand the difference between the keyframes that I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, fix it right now in Cinema 4D, and then let me know when it's done, and I'll check it out. Nikki, you have any more shots for us to look at? Noelle? Shots? Screenshots? Anna? Anything for the kitchen?
I have things going for the kitchen. I'm just when I ran the substance painter, I'll finish it. But I'm having issues with unwrapping the kitchen, so I have to go back and fix them, and then I go back in, and it's like it's a process.
But you got way more time allocated for that process the last
I
2
do
weeks.
now, yeah.
Okay, and so, but here's a goal. Everybody here hasn't shown us something yet. Just get some image together so that we can, like, look at the image and just make the general, like, oh, no, yes, yes, no. That way you're not doing a whole bunch of stuff and it's not good, right? So just get something out,
Okay.
right? Noelle?
Mm-hmm.
Darren?
Slack keeps logging me out, so I need to know.
Are you trying to put something else on? You have the image to put else on?
It's not very good, but still have to add my mixer and
what about the text? Did you bring this into substance painting? Okay.
I have substance open, but I don't know how to export.
You have to, did you do any work in substance yet? Okay, so you go back to your cinema. Did you do the mixer in substance?
No, I haven't done anything with substance because I can't figure out how to export these into.
Okay, yeah, so what I'll write down right now is that you need an FBX file, right? So the FBX file comes out of cinema, and you put the FBX into substance. That's what you load into substance file, into substance. Okay, so let's try this. Did you UV map this one? Some of it, maybe? Let's test it. So go to File, Save, Export. First, save file. Save project.
Oh, okay.
So, that yeah, export. Which one do you want? And, okay. Is that what you're saving over?
Yeah.
Now go to system. File, new, okay, and then here, you have set for FBX. Let's say, put the auto, and then say, create this line and save it. There you go. Alright, so now we're in here, and which, which,
It's walls. It's not on the ground.
I'm gonna make this switch on.
Which is weird because it's how it's
Okay, but now, this will be good, so now you can fix it, and then send it over again. Okay?
I keep losing the texture. Do you make the cameras look better?
Okay, so close it once. Yeah, we can save it to the help piece of it. Okay, close it once. So everything is on that. Yes? Okay, so open cinema once. You don't open file, just open cinema. And the textures are actually on there. You're sure about that?
Everything gets saved to this percent.
Okay, so now close that. And now go to cinema preferences. And everything is in kitchen.
So the textures for your cabinets, are you using making noise?
Those are from substance, right? Is everything in there? And then, is it directly in there, or is it in there? Okay. Okay, so now, close that. So now that we can see. Okay, so that's, okay, so open to that.
did what we did in the inheritance substance, but covered it over with the
Oh, okay. These are the new ones?
yeah. We can save those. Whenever I come over.
And what do you look like in red? Open up that material again. And get that. That doesn't look like it.
No.
So here, go ahead and select that. Go ahead and drag it. Go to where, is this file on the same page as the old one?
Just gonna put it there.
Change the name. Yeah, so having multiple versions, that's, yeah, I don't know. So you might want to go back here, and if you know the in that big folder hierarchy, you have groups here, if some of these you know the versions, you can name them like this. Is that right? Do we test right here? Oh, how do they do this camera?
Yeah.
Let me see.
Let me switch cameras.
Much better. Still a little bit too fast. That shot should probably be a little bit longer. Karen, you able to start texturing stuff now? Right, so, I mean, now it's just a matter of picking out some stuff, right? So, what color do you want the title?
Kinda wanted to do like a
Go for it. So, the wood, the drag it over here, and suppose wood later. And then we want to just mask cactus. So, the other thing is that it looks like patterns weird, slightly. And we change color to UV to try to bring pressure out into the wood room. Now it's the same roughly thing. Scale. And now, we're just going to add mask. So we would say add black mask. Everything goes away. So we need to add the cactus back. So over here, this button, look at that. Or you want-
This one?
or sorry, the one. So let's go to this one. Mesh. So click on pattern. So let's go to this. Go to okay, let's go back to cinema once. So one of the things we could do here is we could bring things in here. So if you go to your icon project, right, and go to materials.
Computer's just trashy.
There. And so now you can drag from here. So drag one of these ones.
I don't know the purpose.
Very quick thing.
Oh. Should I see?
There it goes. So this is going to be put some metal on some of the other stuff over there?
That's a good count it.
That was better. Okay, remember, how many shots do you need?
Can you take 4?
12.
Okay, that's fine. The motion. Oh my god. Easy one.
Did you get rid of all ones of other things? And that second phase is not a place that you tell someone when you go. Okay. Okay, so this is going better.
So far. 16.
And you're saving it from that.
Too much happened this week.
Did your computer explode?
Cinema 4D crashed a couple times, yeah. That was hours worth. When's the last time I seen it?
Everybody save, everybody has auto save turned on.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes! Yes! Auto save. Auto save.
Yeah, I remember I was doing someone else for a different class, and you know, After Effects just completely crashed my entire computer, and I was like, I lost all that work, but then luckily I had autosave on it.
There you go. What a great story.
Magical.
And at that moment I thought, man, it's a good thing I knew that Casey guy.
Does this sound like that?
I should probably send him some money. Even lighter.
Just get rid of the directional data?
I don't know, it look like if you leave the bump on there, it just disconnects the cover chain.
This is sounds better.
You just disconnect it with this cover. I mean, even everything is just assume.
Yeah. Oh, they just installed new laptops. Well, we just bought new laptops. That's what we put in another less. Full white was not.
Okay, that's looking better than Brixton.
Yeah, nice. And
Yeah,
maybe there was,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
was trying to get the mixer settled in a place in a way that.
put it on the island so it gets out and you can see it.
Do I have to worry about the board or just? It's
No, you don't need to worry about it.
Cool. Makes sense.
We'll say that this is 5 years in the future and all mixers are cordless.
But it has a
Same thing,
cord.
right? Like if half the cord sticking out of mine, I'm like, okay, let's stick that in the corners. You don't see the
No,
cord.
that's what I was trying to shove the whole mixer in the corner. I was like, maybe I can hide the cord that way. Alright, well, it's gonna be on display in the middle of the island.
Yeah, and you've got that bowl there, you can copy and paste that bowl and close it there.
Yeah, probably put it on the shelf or make it, I don't know, where it's.
Nikki, if you can hear me, I don't know what qualifies as weird food.
Like what?
We're mixing them right now.
Luminosity, I think. That's the texture, or at least in standard textures. I'm not sure
So
about
where are you at?
substance.
Oh, I already put an image of what's gonna look like. It's just right now I'm fixing the counters.
Okay.
So you can have that one, you said to put in that one, what's it called? Subdivision.
On the counters?
Yeah, you said that one look nicer if you have like that. That turned out.
On the
I
rounding?
just took it off. Yeah, on the
The
rounding.
mixer looks way too big.
Okay, I'll fix that one.
Yeah. I guess the relative scale of the other stuff looks. I think it looks a little weird because the ceiling is too low.
Maybe.
The other things look correctly sized next to each other, but the ceiling
That was a
seems,
mistake. I forgot.
the ceiling seems too low.
Okay.
And But regardless, the mixer is also
A
like,
little too big.
yeah, it's taking up like half an island. It looks like one of those like cafeteria grade, you know, like you're making food for 500 people.
Riley, you're setting up more cameras.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're saving. What do you have to do?
I just not understand substance painter.
Okay, well, what's this not?
I
What
just
are you trying to do to
make it look like a stainless steel appliances, but these work different than these.
Yeah, so the smart materials, you know, have like those are like presets for wear and tear and stuff. I mean, you just want it to look like the metal. You shouldn't necessarily use a smart material. You just use the regular material. So if you put one of those on, isn't there a stainless? Or
I don't think there is in this one. Yes. Silver. Steel rough.
go with the steel rough.
Okay. Then it just looks kind of dirty.
Yeah, so get in closer to it. Okay, so now you can make adjustments. You put steel rough, right? And so if you go down here, for instance, you could see what it looks like without any of the patterning here. Just turn off the roughness trim.
Just the backs.
And just there. Alright, so that it's very some of that. And then also with the patterns, unless it's UV and round just right, it's probably going to be better to go up and put it in not UV projection, try planar.
Okay.
No, you have planar, try planar. There. Alright, this will, you see how that's even across the whole surface now?
Okay. That makes sense.
Try the plan.
Just drag it on top of this?
No, just delete that. And yeah, switch it to try plan. And so this is pretty shiny. If you wanted it to be less shiny, you could go to the roughness down here. Well, no, you want it on. And now this is the amount of roughness. Right? So you turn it up, less shiny. Turn it down,
Okay.
more shiny. If you wanted a pattern in the shininess to make it look like it has texture, go to your textures
This thing?
next to it. Yeah, search for like grunge. And so any of those you can drag down here, and instead of just a slider, it'll use this texture.
Just like that?
Now let's apply that to the roughness trim.
Okay, I see how it kind of works now. Is it attributes that you're adjusting?
No, once you put a texture on, then the texture is controlled per pixel. And so the amount here is going to be in contrast and balance. So as you dial this up, contrast, if you dial up, it'll be more, the shiny parts will be shinier and the duller parts will be duller. Right? It's, if this is the white to black space, expanding it is more contrast. Smushing it is less contrast. And then balance is sliding that up or down. Right? So if you want more, you want it to be in general shinier or in general duller. But then how much of a change in shininess or dullness do you want?
Okay. I'm starting to see now. And then when you want to do another one, I know it's like 80s stuff, so like you need paint layer?
So Yeah,
So like
you
if I
want-
wanted to color cabinets not this color,
Yeah.
but
so,
wanted to keep it.
Yeah, you want another fill.
Okay, cool.
Now bring in, find a wood or something, whatever you want to do with the cabinets.
Oh, there can be wood cabinets. Or like acrylic style. Oh,
So now, you only want there to be some places. First of all, switch it to tripod, so that the pattern, anytime you look at it, the pattern looks all messed up, tripod.
Okay.
That should make the pattern even, but it's still way too big, right, the green compared to the size, and so scale it down.
Or up? Or
It's a positive thing, right, so you're just closer to zero. Or actually to the right. Here. And so now you want to mask it out so it's only on the cabinets. So now add a black mask to that layer. Now, go to, you can paint the mask any number of ways, but the easiest way is just using the fill there. So you're in polygon fill now, so for every polygon you click on, it'll mask in the wood.
okay, that makes things so much easier.
Okay, so that's polygon. If it were a separate mesh, you could do that, but you should be able to just drag across. So, and you got this extra fill layer here, which is making the top white instead of black. So you can turn that off. There, let's scale the top.
Aha.
Save. Everybody saving? Auto save. How many shots you got, Riley?
2.
Okay. Darren, is that going okay? Bringing those materials over?
Yeah,
Are you saving?
yeah,
Do you have autosave turned on?
yeah.
You want to make pizza but have it be weird colors. Emily says, I struggle because I'm like, this isn't girl boss gaslight gatekeep enough for her. What does it mean if something is girl boss gaslight gatekeep?
Even I don't know.
Teach an old person. What does that mean?
I don't know.
Is it good? I don't even know if it's good or bad.
It's not
Girl boss,
good.
gaslight, gatekeep, I don't know.
Gaslight is bad. Girl boss, good. Gatekeep? I don't know.
Gatekeep is not good.
I don't.
Do you know how to get the background? I see that's where I'm
I'm not a janitor, sorry.
Yeah, I think like a pink and blue pizza, Nikki, would work. Nikki, do you have any, is it clear in your mind how to model a pizza? How would you model a pizza?
cylinder.
Sure, that would get me some dough.
More cylinders.
Just a bunch of cylinders.
I mean, well, one cylinder will get me as far as like, if I just adjust the slice, right, that gets me the dough. And then just make it edible, bring up the pressed area, and then just like deform the top to be cheesy. And then a few tiny cylinders for pepperoni.
Yeah, I think something like that. I
Even
mean,
a disc could work too.
I might do.
They all have the slice function. The disc or
You want a whole. I was imagining a whole pizza, not just a slice of pizza, but I don't. I mean, it could be anything. But you want it to be a little bit irregular, right? And so I think a volume modeling workflow here might be a good idea.
Nicole's already got her pizza kind of done. It has sprinkles on it, I think.
Okay. Yeah, for those to read as sprinkles, I think they need to be smaller. Right, it's already a weird color, so having sprinkles the size of like Cheetos on there seems disconcerting. Do they make sprinkle flavored Cheetos? It seems like a thing that's probably happened at this point. Are you guys into flaming hot Cheetos like the rest of America?
I don't like spicy things.
I just
I
like
like
spicy
spicy.
chips with cheese.
I like spicy food, but I'm not the biggest fan of Cheetos.
I'll do tacos, I'll do flaming, what are they called, Fritos.
The sprinkles are the cheese?
Hot Cheetos. I'll do hot Cheetos first. I need chips. I have chips. I need to eat chips right now.
Here, Nikki, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna hit C on the cylinder. I'm gonna put it in a sub D, just to give it a little more pizza-like. I'm gonna come here along the top. I'm going to select all of this stuff and then do a inner extrude, and then a UI on the outside, and D extrude. Get some crust, right? Maybe it's like stuffed crust where they jam a bunch of stuff inside the pizza. That's weird. I don't know why people eat those things. And now, you want it to be a little irregular. And so I'm going to add a what am I looking for? I'm going to add a displacer underneath. And in the displacer, I am going to load some noise. There we go. All right. And here, we don't want the noise to be quite so strong. But you see it does deform it a little bit. And maybe I just come in here with the point tool and move some points around to sort of make this a little less. Maybe get all the points and then go into magnet mode. Magnet. And here I can start to move. Yeah, this is like, it's moving like dough. Here we go, I can move points around. Look at me, I'm a pizza guy. There we go. Is that? There we go, kind of like that. And then I might grab the cylinder, get this part here, and right click and say split, and move this out. And you put this in a separate sub D. There goes the cheese. Just gonna subdivide this. There we go. So splitting this off gives me this sort of separate cheese layer. Sort of bringing the cheese layer down into the dough. As far as making it recognizably pizza, I think having some disc-shaped thing on top is going to get you there. That's right, I'm smothering it in cheese because I like flavor, Nikki. I'm not just going to give it a little bit of cheese. Oh, that's an interesting idea about sprinkling the cheese. Let's see if we could do that. Right, so if I made a capsule that was really small, and then I made a cloner, I clone the capsule onto the pizza. So it needs to go onto this pizza. There we go. But we only want it on top. And so the cylinder here, I'm just going to select the area that we want to store. So the store selection. And then under cloner, you can say which part of the thing do I want to put stuff on. I just want it on this part. There we go. And so now I could say, give me way more cheese. Way more cheese. And I might come in here under MoGraph, Effector, Random, and just give them some more random, not position, but just rotation. But then, if you wanted to melt them, then you could put it inside a volume builder. Inside a volume mesher. And the volume builder might need a much smaller voxel size. There we go. There we go. Cheese. And we need more cheese coverage, so we need more cheese sprinkles. So how about 2,000 shreds of cheese? There we go. Look at that. That worked way better than I would have possibly imagined. Maybe it's not quite as tall. That's kind of got mozzarella-like consistency there. Turn the pepperoni back on. What do you got going on?
Still following.
Okay, that looks good. You're too far behind to be super picky.
Right.
Do the rest of your time.
Yeah, no.
Okay, but you want to have something for Wednesday
Yeah.
to look at. So just bring this in substance and get it through the system so that you can render some stuff. All right?
Yeah.
The faucet especially, you can model and then throw a default metal.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily need to be round trip through the whole process.
target? Go to the register.
many cameras?
No, 4 moons.
In a minute, hold on. Let me just look up one thing here.
When using MoGraph to create an
this.
Like what?
Wait, you want to be using these four.
Am I not?
You've seen the classes or not seen them? Right, that's standard. You see the boxes, that's standard. Quick.
Yeah, so put a light just below each thing.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
not inside. And then your floor pattern is going to don't use them. So that's really shiny and I can't see that. And just use a sort of more
Okay.
That's cool. You're passing through the rungs. Hey, everybody, rip this off. This is good.
Okay. Feel free to use that camera angle.
Passing through the rungs of the chair gives you a lot of balancing. Good idea. Yeah, put the lights just below. Make sure you're safe. Make sure you're safe. Okay, the simplest solution here is put the top of the stove up. So we can just use it here. So it's just like those things. Right, so just split those off, make a separate material, and just the things for each feature.
I tend to just use the same tool, just
Yeah, you just duplicate the material and then that's it.
or just moving out to the thing.
Yep. Okay, show me all the cameras. Did you use the stage object there?
I have not.
Okay, so you want to use your stage object to sequence your cameras.
Okay, so I have it stacked. Everything makes it too bad.
What is that weird figure doing in the corner?
What's his name?
Are there, did you put them in other places in the scene?
Not yet. I'm gonna, maybe.
You should,
Yeah.
because that looks really weird. And it would look less weird if there are other figures in the scene.
So it's gonna go. And there's that one. Now make sure you use the stage thing.
Yeah. So make the stage, and remember what I said. Those are all good sort of medium shots. You want to start with a much wider view so we can see all of it at the same time, and then go into the detail shot. But that looking through the chair was really great. It's good shot. Is that working, Kyle?
Just for the new material.
Any more to show us yet, people online? Jose says they have spicy Cheetos now with lemon.
Nice.
Is that nice? Like like lemon flavoring, or they're actually like lemons in the bag? So that's working better?
Yeah.
Okay, save that so you make sure you got all those setups. And so now that should render really quick. And you can drag things from the content browser, get everything textured pretty, I mean, that's going easier, right?
Yeah, it's just, I don't, how am I supposed to like texture the small parts? Because it's just going to the whole thing.
So you have to select the polygons.
Oh, you're right. Like the faces?
Right, and so if I hit C, right, and so now I have this and this is something else. There we go. And so this is the base color for my cabinet. And then I want this face to be purple. I go here, select this face, and drag the purple on there. And now that part's purple.
Okay, thank you.
Make sense?
Sorry, I have to leave early today.
Okay. Just remember that stuff. Try and get something for us to look at on Wednesday. What are turbos? Emily prefers turbos rather than Cheetos.
Yeah, they're like backbeat.
These?
Yeah.
Llamas? $4 a bag.
What? Bag? It's flames. Fire.
Inflation. How do you change the environment of the dome light? You've got to provide something to the dome light, right? So if I make a new redshift lights dome light, the environment goes here. I believe I could use one of these. You can use one from your Cinema 4D. Emily says, they are yummy, or they are very yummy. Right, and so now my redshift dome light has that environment. When I look around, I see the environment. Jose, did that answer your question? How are we going over here? Good? Good? I'm still working on my cabinet, right?
Yes, it's all saved. I have to save all my stuff and then email it so I can do it here because I can't render Redshift on this computer because it doesn't have the right graphics card.
Right.
So it's just a matter of compiling everything together to use here.
Are you going to be here on Wednesday to render stuff?
I can't be here Wednesday, but I'll be here. Actually, I could probably be here tomorrow.
Are you in the room any other time besides Monday and Wednesday, or no?
I usually just come on Monday and Wednesday. Tuesdays I could be in here, but there's a class.
Yeah, I don't know what the schedule is.
Or I could try doing it on my computer at home. I have a desktop computer. I could try.
Does it have an NVIDIA card in it?
It has a GTX 1060.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
So you're just UV unwrapping?
Yeah.
Just going on cubic?
Yeah.
That's why they're way out here.
Check this out too. This is like restaurant style. It's more than less. Shelves still too busy. Or should I just go with the center?
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
The glasses are so clear you can't see into everyone.
Yeah.
They might get some more roughness.
Is there anything over here? Like-
Across the room?
Yeah. Is there anything over there that's being reflected or not?
The boundaries of the room, probably not.
Yeah, like maybe putting a wall here would get something to show off in the reflections. And also maybe just bumping the IOR up or down a little bit.
Yeah, the only thing about adding the wall over there is that getting the camera over there. Like there is a wall, theoretically. It's just very far away.
In your camera. You should be able to exclude some. Well, no, you do it on the wall. You put compositing type on the wall
Right.
and say, that's,
Yes.
This is good, yeah?
looks good. Yeah, let's, I mean, I would start getting some shots in there. The only thing I would say
I
is
have
that
shots maybe.
yeah, it's good, okay. Just some sort of frame. So it doesn't look like.
I did try and like, I did try and give some thickness to it a little bit, but it doesn't really.
Yeah, yeah, it's not a good thing.
You know how to get your textures out of Substance Painter.
Do you export it as a redshift material?
Right, use the redshift preset.
Yeah, I have that in notes.
Okay. The Artist of Promise probably isn't going to open until next week at this point. I'll be able to give you guys I'll let everyone know. Jose, what do you mean your environment looks too big? It's like a dome image that. Can you post a picture on Slack of what you're seeing? Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, Jose, a lot of that is in the original image. You may be better off picking a different dome light image.